In this video, I want to get you started on taking the A minor scale and making it the A minor pentatonic scale, and then taking that scale and using it as a tool for composition. So let's get started. You know the A minor scale, it's the natural notes on the A string through the high E string. The pentatonic scale, instead of having a normal 7 notes per octave and then repeating, it only has 5, hence pentatonic. So we're going to start with low A, and we're going to remove some notes. So we're going to take all of the B's and all of the F's out of the scale. It's going to be easier than you think. So instead of A, B, C, we have A, C. Second string, or the next string, which is D, we have, instead of D, E, F, we have D, E. G only has 2 notes. Instead of B, C, D, we've got C, D. And then instead of E, F, G, we've got E, G. Here it is in order from the lowest to the top. Pause the video and go through that a couple times on your own, reading carefully, or rewind and play with me. This is going to be a little bit easier, and that's great for us because pentatonic scale is super important. It's going to be a little easier because we only have 2 notes per string. It's also easier because most of the strings use an open string, but that's where you have to be careful because the B string doesn't use B anymore. So when you get there, you have to just go straight to your first finger. So that string is going to be used a lot in this project and in your composition just because it's a higher note, it's going to speak better. So watch out for that. The next step is going to be just taking that scale, and when you want to compose, start with improvisation. So start with some notes that you feel pretty comfortable with and come up with something you like. Just make it up. And you're going to know what you want to do because you can play it pretty much the same each time. And that's when you're going to want to write it down. The tricky part about this is writing down something that maybe you wrote something like really interesting rhythmically, and you don't know how to write it. If you can play it multiple times, I will help you write it. So that's one way to get your first measures, is to improvise. Just make something up that you like the sound of. And that's why we did improvisation, was so that you can get to that point. So maybe spend some time now, pause the video, and just mess around, play some things using only the notes of the A minor pentatonic scale. The other way that we can start to compose is to take notes from the scale and just kind of guess and check, or trial and error. So if you read the instructions that you've got, you're going to start with 4 consecutive notes. Now remember, we skipped some notes in the A minor pentatonic scale. So consecutive notes don't mean like A, B, C anymore. It could be A, C, D, E, or it could be like G, E. We skip F, we skip B each time. I'm going to start just with the notes of the G string and the B string with the pentatonic scale. So it's going to be G, A, and then on the B string I've got C and D. And those are the 4 notes that I'm going to start with. I'm going to play them. Sounds really cool, but I don't like it rhythmically yet. It's not very interesting. So I could, at this point, I could bring some of that improvisation in. Or I can just hypothesize what might sound good with some eighth notes. I think I want this note to be 2 eighth notes, and I want this note to be 2 eighth notes. Sounds pretty good for a first measure. It's going to sound great with the blues. And if I don't like that, I can change it. But you should spend some time now doing that for yourself. So you're just taking 4 notes. They don't have to go up. They could go down. Remember, when you're writing a solo, a melody, things that are in order or that repeat notes, those are going to sound safe for us. So if we have things that are going, that sounds safe. If we have going up, like I repeated some notes, sounds safe. It's going to sound a little wild with like that's it could be cool, but it's going to be harder to play and it's going to be harder to listen to, honestly. So if you've got big skips, make sure to surround them with leaps. You can come at this from an improv way. You can come at it from a very strict, like trial and error sort of way. It's going to be up to you. Make sure you ask me your questions in class and make sure you write down your ideas. That is the part that is composition. So ask those questions and I'll see you in class. See you next time on YouTube.